Hi everybody, it's Claire with another project for Scrap FX design team. So this is another page in the Craft Junk journal, and I'm starting off by using some of the Black Dots collage paper and adding quite a large piece straight onto the background. I'm just using some gel medium to stick this in place. So this is one of the final pages in this journal, and you can see it's become quite chunky. So this is quite a challenging page to work on because there's so many elements in this journal now. And once these videos for April have gone live, I will do a flip through of this journal. So then once that's dry, I'm then going in with some syrup acrylic paint from Dina Wakley Media, and I'm just using a brayer to apply some of that paint onto my page. And you notice I'm brayering it over a few times. That just helps to spread that paint out a little bit. Just getting more of an even application. So then I'm using some Amsterdam acrylic colours in the pinks, and my favourite one, Permanent Red Violet Light. And then I think that one is called Quinacridone Rose Light. And then the light pink is called Light Rose, and I'm just adding those colours onto the page, kind of blending them into each other, so I'm not worrying about drying them at all as I go along. Then I'm starting off with the Circles Galore B. This is one of the stencils that I've designed. It comes in a little set, and I'm just using some of the same pinks through the stencils just to build up some more interest onto that background. And then again, this is the Circles Galore C stencil. Everything's all about circles. I love circles. I love using circles on my journal pages. It's one of my go-to things, really. And I'm using a blending tool to get that paint onto those pages too. So this is another one of the Circles Galore stencils. This is from the set C. I'm just adding these lines of circles on there a bit more with the light rose colour. So then I am using the text stencil. This is from Scrap FX, and I'm using this with a really nice pale purple colour. This is also from Amsterdam Acrylic, and it is called Ultramarine Violet. That's really great for getting some text onto that background. Then I have used the, what's it called? Buttons A Flowers stamp. And I'm just adding a little bit of paint onto that using my blending tool and stamping that onto the background. This was again just about building up more patterns onto that background page. And don't forget to clean your stamps really well if you've used acrylic paint on them. So this is a face that was designed by Tanya Froud. It's a sheet called Four Girls, which is also, she designed for Scrap FX. And I'm going to be using that face as my focal point, sticking it down using some gel medium, or rather a lot of gel medium. I've done my usual thing of tipping too much out. So I'm just using a gift card to scrape some of it away. And then I'm just working out, because I want that to be in the centre of the page, and then I am just using a brush to help smooth that piece of collage paper down onto the page. And then I am using the fairy frame. It's a really cute chipboard element. It's quite fragile, from Scrap FX, and I'm painting this black because I want this to be a bit of a contrast to the rest of the pinks and the subtle colours on the page that I've already put there. As I recently discovered, a better way to get the colour onto the chipboard elements is to use a blending tool. You get a much more even coverage of paint. But at this time I hadn't really thought that far, so I'm still faffing about with a paintbrush. But it's okay, it works fine. Okay. So once that's dry, that then gets stapled in place. And then I think I used a bit of glue to stick the fairy down as well. So then I'm just adding some black splatters onto the page as well. I had a little bit of black paint left over. As you can see, I got completely covered in black splatters. So then I'm taking some of the text from this circular writing collage paper. It's an A3 size collage paper, and the size of this text fits perfectly around the fairy frame. So I'm just carefully cutting out the phrase that I want to use, and I'm going to be sticking that around the outside of the fairy frame that I've used on this page. Gel medium always goes further than I think it's going to. I always squeeze out too much. Maybe one day I will get it right and just squeeze out the perfect amount, but I don't seem to be able to at the minute. I don't know why. The more definitely isn't better with gel medium. It just gets really squishy and horrible if you have too much. Okay, so once I've got those stuck in place and nice and dry, I am then using a Stabilo oil pencil, and I'm just darkening up some of the elements on this face. I am only drawing over the lines that are already there, just to bring them into the foreground a little bit more. And then I think what I end up doing next is using a water brush and just activating some of those lines, and it just helps bring a little bit of shadow onto the face and makes it stand out a little bit more. So you can see all I'm doing is just pulling my brush along the lines that I've drawn, and what it does is it activates the pencil, and it then means that you can kind of pull that pigment out a little bit, or you just let it bleed out onto the area where you've added the wet from the water brush. And then I also added in the white of her eye too. And then I decided that I would add some little bits of gold leaf onto certain parts of this. So I only used a glue stick to stick this in place. So I added a bit of glue stick and then used a dry brush, popped the gold leaf on, and then just brushed away the excess. This isn't expensive gold leaf at all. It is just off eBay or Amazon. It was really cheap, but it does the job perfectly well. And it adds that extra bit of glitz onto this journal page and kind of just brings it alive a little bit, really. Although it does tend to go everywhere and get stuck to your fingers, and you find it on your face. It's just ridiculous how far it travels. Okay, and that is it. That is this journal page finished. So lots of fun playing with collage papers and stamps, stencils, and the chipboard element again. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again soon.